Jem is here in the KINK Live Performance Lounge. Actually, Jem is here in the Green Room, sponsored by Lazy Boy. You ever sat in a Lazy Boy before?
I think I might have. Would I have sat in one in an airport or no?
You probably would have. In fact, you're sitting in one right now.
Hey, this is awesome.
Good answer. Very good answer. I want to go back to your love of soundtracks, movie soundtracks.
Yes, love movie soundtracks.
How were you attracted to movie soundtracks?
Because I love all music, and I think what I love about them is that because they're connected to a film, when you listen to them without the film, they're obviously very emotional because they're driving scenes, you know? I think that's what it is, so they really like, you know, your heartstrings and everything. I can't think the first one I mean, there's loads, obviously back to stuff like Dirty Dancing, which is more songs. Right. But, you know, have you seen the film Shine?
Oh, yeah, with...
David Hare.
Yeah, the brilliant piano player.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, fabulous movie.
Yeah, so that soundtrack, I bought that, and then that became my, like, travel... I would listen to, I still do, but at a certain time I listened to that soundtrack like everywhere I went. It's funny knowing like piano tunes back to front in your head, you know. But yeah, I really love them. And Man on Fire I was just playing recently because it's got this song at the very end that's, I don't think people would even think about the Man on Fire soundtrack, you know what I mean?
Is that the one with Denzel?
It's Denzel Washington, yeah. And
that was a good movie.
It was really good, and when I was watching it I thought, got to get the soundtrack because it's... not so much the loud bits that come in. There's some loud like club bits intercut and stuff, but they have the Spanish stuff, and the last song is about 9 minutes, and it just crushes me, and I think I like that. Like,
see, I don't really notice the music.
Well, I suppose you're not supposed to.
Right.
But with that one I did. I thought I got to get the soundtrack, and I haven't bought the soundtrack, but There Will Be Blood. Have you seen that film?
Yes.
The soundtrack in that,
yeah,
amazing film.
Oh yeah.
But the soundtrack in that's really interesting, and I think it's very loud and very bold and really well done. I think it should have really been up for an Oscar, but I think there was some reason it wasn't. But like that, I really was aware of it, and I think sometimes you're not supposed to. Right. But again, if you take that one, if that hadn't been in the film, it was so dramatic. Like it was like a horror film score over him just walking over a desert. You know,
no, I agree.
It's really interesting.
And there you've got one in Sex and the City.
Sex and the City, yeah, exactly.
Was that something you knew that song would work for that soundtrack?
No, actually, we weren't sure about. We were really flattered they wanted it for the soundtrack, but it was so early compared to the album. We did have a discussion about, you know, is it strange putting the first single out on someone else's album, you know, and then we thought it's just too good an opportunity to miss, you know, with the film and just everything, the promotion around it, and you know, I really like the film, so when they put it in there, like I said, we actually went and played the album before it was finished to the music guys at New Line, and I was really happy that they chose one, and then they wanted it on the soundtrack, so we were great.
And that's sort of like Dirty Dancing, because that's a soundtrack with songs.
Right, exactly. There's a lot of soundtracks like that, and I think that record labels kind of want to choose, you know, Sex and the City obviously worldwide has done just fantastic, so I felt really lucky to
And that's great exposure for you.
It's amazing, you know, because for people who haven't known... Sorry, just my song title in my own, it's amazing. No, it's amazing because, you know, my mum was telling me that it was top 10, she's great, she just emails me things, you know, but that it was top 10 worldwide, the soundtrack. Wow. So I'm hoping that a lot of people who, you know, haven't heard my first album will hear the track and go, oh, who is she, you know, and go check out online.
And that's how you light that fire.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, you start someplace.
Yeah. You never really know how it's going to go. And I mean, I've got obviously fans around the world and some really obscure places too, which is cool. My sister just had a friend somewhere like in China, like in a tiny coffee shop in China, and they played one of the songs, and she happened to be there, so she, you know, texted us. And like Bahrain, like strange places. But since Sex and the City, I've noticed a lot more Europeans writing into MySpace and things. Is that cool?
It's very cool, and you don't sing these songs in Chinese. What's amazing to me is how they can appreciate those songs without necessarily understanding what the lyrics mean.
Well, I think that it's funny, one of the songs on the new album, I've actually done the chorus in Japanese, even though I didn't speak Japanese, and it was just like, why not, you know, and I got some friends to help teach me this chorus, and we were talking about, a lot of people over here were like, why are you doing it in Japanese, you know, and I was just, obviously you wouldn't do that a whole album probably in America wouldn't really work. but I think over there people are quite used to, like in France, you know, especially Europe, they're used to English, you know, as a second language, and I used to listen to like French, you know, things now and then, and you just listen to the melody. It doesn't matter if you don't. You know, there's some English bands you don't know what they're saying anyway.
But you like the swingle singers.
Yeah, totally. But again, that was from my dad, you know. Exactly. But they were kind of going, blah, 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 you know.
Right, which was very different at that time.
Really cool. I love that.
So tell us about your new album coming out in September.
So the new album's coming out. I'm very excited because it's been a long time since the last one. And I should just quickly say that my record label bought everyone back from Sony BMG last year. So my album was ready last year because everyone thinks I've been like swanning around and not, you know, I actually had it ready, but we had to wait for the politics of that. And now we can get it out. So,
good. So
that's why it took a while, even though the record actually, you know, only took probably a year.
So there's politics in the music business?
Is there politics in radio?
Oh,
is it tiny?
Just a little bit. How cool though? How exciting for you, because now you get to perform all these new songs.
Yeah, it's brilliant. All of it was a blessing actually, because you know, my label's a small indie that Dave Matthews owns, and they've now signed Radiohead too, which is just so cool. So they're like part of the whole team.
Right.
And so the new album, I love it. I always make sure that I love every song, so that when I perform, I kind of excited about every song. And I think also that's why I like the different styles, because I love Norah Jones and that kind of music, but I don't think I would want to perform that every night personally. You know, I'd love to see it. But for me, I was quite aware of touring when I wrote the album too, about wanting it to be up, you know, and that again, I really like to make sure every song is really strong, and you know, no kind of fillers of like, oh, I don't really like that song. You know, I love them all, and
there's not a sameness to all your songs. There's a nice variety.
Yeah, which again on tour makes it awesome. So we'll have like gospel choir for this, you know, and some, you know, it's kind of we have like a Stevie Wonder kind of inspired track that the band are just going to freak out, I think, because it's such a jam, you know, and the Japanese dance track, and then there's, you know, we got the Welsh choir of Southern California on one track, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I was like, there must be a Welsh choir somewhere, and I Googled them, and they came in the studio. So really mixing it up, you know. I'm trying to think. And we have a wonderful ballad with I wrote with my brother, which is in memory of a friend's husband who died, unfortunately, in 9/11, and another person who died in Detroit when I was recording. So it kind of inspired this song, and I was lucky enough to get Vusi Mahasela. I always say his second name like wrong, but he's on ATO as well. Amazing South African singer, like just out of this world. He actually did the soundtrack to the film Tootsie. I don't know if you know it.
Tootsie?
No, not Tootsie.
But that was You're talking about the African type.
Yeah, the African, right.
Yeah.
That's quite funny though. Tootsie, I'm not sure how you say it, but it's Tootsie, or it's spelled with a T-S-O-S-I.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So he's on that, and he came and did a song. He did like ad-libs and a Zulu prayer on this ballad. Wow. Yeah, just so amazing. I mean,
slight difference between Tootsie
and Tootsie, yeah, which is like shanty town African.
Yeah, I would agree. Jem, it's wonderful having you here.
So thank you so much for having me here.
Our pleasure. And you're going to be touring to support this album, and I assume coming to Portland in the fall?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm hoping it'll be the fall, and Portland's been, you know, one of the biggest supporters, so definitely.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, you're welcome back here anytime.
Oh, thank you so much.
Jem in our green room, sponsored by Lazy Boy.